Hey guys, attorney Brent Sibley, Sibley Dolman Personal Injury Attorneys, and today I'm going to talk about, without a doubt, the most asked question by all clients and everybody who talks to me about my business. Can you guess what that question is? How much is a case worth, and how do you figure it out? Now, before we get into this, I need to say that I'm licensed in Florida, and my experience is based off Florida and basically Florida car crash cases because that's what I've been doing for the last 12 years. It's different in every state. It's probably pretty similar, but it's always a little bit different, and there's certain things that apply in each state that make it specific. So this is Florida. Also, every single case, as you will see as I go through my little formula that I have written down here on my little cheat sheet, every case is extremely different, and you will get different results. However, when people ask me this question, I still have to be able to give them an answer. I can't just say it depends and have a nice day. You have to trust me. That's the answer, because that's not enough. Maybe that used to work way back in the day in the old school, but it doesn't work anymore. People want to know. They want to hear me explain it. Maybe you understand all of it. Maybe you only understand a little of it. You absorb some of it, but you want to hear it. You want to understand how it works. So let's get right into it with that understanding. Okay. I like to use a grading system for certain of the facts, 0 to 5. Some things might be a 0, some things might be a 5. When I say a 0 to 5, like for example, the fault in a case, one of the most important things is fault. Whose fault was the case? If it was your fault, if you rear-ended somebody and it's completely your fault, you are 0 in the fault category. It's all your fault. You cannot bring a case at all. That's it. Your case is over. We don't even need to have the rest of the conversation. So that's fault. Now, of course, the opposite would be if somebody rear ends you, then it's obviously their fault, and you have a great case of fault. So I would put a 5 in that category. Now, there's a lot of in between there. Maybe you both ran a red light. Maybe one of you was speeding and one of you ran a red light. So you're both at fault. So that's where you would have to maybe hire an expert and get into that a little bit in more detail. And the fault would be somewhere in between 0 to 5. So fault, we grade that from 0 to 5, depending on that. The next thing is the property damage to the vehicles involved. Sometimes we get cases where somebody gets crashed into, they get rear-ended, and there's no damage to the car at all. If that situation, I'm going to assign a 0 or a 1 to the car, to that property damage formula, and that's how the insurance companies do it also. Now, sometimes we have a catastrophic photo. The car is completely mangled, what we call an accordion, where it just looks like it's completely crumpled. Now, that would be a 5, okay? Then after that, you have the immediate treatment or the urgency of treatment. Did the paramedics come to the scene? Did you go right to the emergency room? Did you get airlifted to the emergency room? So for example, airlifted immediately to the emergency room, that would be a 5, okay? What would be a 0? A 0 would be you didn't want to get any treatment on the scene, and you didn't go to the emergency room, and you didn't see any doctors for a couple days or a week or something. That would be like a 1 in that category, or maybe even a 0. So again, it's just part of the formula, and this is the way you grade it. The next thing would be the follow-up treatment. Which doctors did you see? Did you see chiropractors only, and did you get therapy? If that's the case, then you're probably at a 0 or a 1 in that department. If you saw orthopedic surgeons and you needed surgeries and you needed injections and you needed all this stuff and your medical bills are high, then you're more along the lines of a 5 in that department. So I would assign a 5. So again, there's something in between. Maybe you got just a little therapy, an MRI, and 1 injection into your back or whatever body part it is. You might be a 2 or a 3. So you have to understand that these are not just all or nothing things. There is a criteria that you have to evaluate from 0 to 5. And it doesn't necessarily mean it. It's just for the sake of the conversation. The last thing, and we're not going to get too much into this, is causation. Causation is essentially, did the crash cause your injury? So when you have a broken leg or a broken body part, causation is obvious. It's obvious that the crash caused it. However, when you have a herniated disc or something that's not so obvious, the insurance company will fight the causation. So a herniated disc is more probably like a 2 or a 3 because it's not always so clear whether or not the crash caused it. Whereas a broken ankle, it's obvious that you weren't walking around with a broken ankle. The crash caused the broken ankle. That would be a 5. Okay, so you kind of got to look through those. And if you're pushing near to 5 on all of these categories, you have a very strong case. If you're looking more toward the 0 to 1 on all these categories, and you add those 5 categories up and you're below 15, your case is not as strong as it would be if it was in the 20 to 25 range. Okay, so that's how kind of you have to understand that. Then you have a little bit of some things which would be like the bonuses or the X factors. If the person who caused the crash was drunk driving or DUI, that would add a little bit more scare factor to the defense and the insurance company for your case. So you'd probably get a little bit more for your case. If it was a company vehicle that crashed into you or a commercial vehicle with a big insurance policy and the company doesn't want to get a bad reputation for their company for causing your injuries and letting it be known that they injured you, you might get a little bit of a bonus for that on your case too. So a multiplier, maybe 10, 20, 30, maybe even 50% extra from what your case would normally be worth to what it is if those factors are there in your case. And then, with all that being said, it all boils down to how much insurance there is for your case. Because if there's not sufficient insurance for your case, you could have a 25 and a drunk driver and a commercial policy. And if there's no insurance, the company didn't pay their insurance premiums and the company doesn't have independent money, your case might be actually worthless. So a lot of cases in Florida, when you are dealing with a regular civilian who causes the crash, they actually are not required to have any insurance at all for your injuries. Look at my full policy video if you want to understand about that. But in Florida, people are not required to carry injury liability insurance. So you are limited, not legally, but practically speaking, you are limited in your personal injury case to recovering the amount of available insurance that there is. So if you scored yourself all 4s and 5s here based on the criteria that I gave you, and the insurance is $100,000 or $250,000, you might have a policy limits case, meaning you might be able to get the policy limits of $100,000 to $250,000 for your case, considering all those things. Another big factor is obviously having an attorney. If you don't have an attorney and you cannot file a lawsuit or you cannot go to trial if the negotiations pass out or impasse as we call it, you're going to get a lower valuation too. So understanding the main dynamics, understanding that it's not just a yes or no with those main criteria. Think about it from 0 to 5. Think about your overall score. Are you closer to 10? Are you closer to 25? Hopefully you're not close to 0. If you are, you're probably not even going to be able to find a lawyer to take your case. Think about those X factors. And then, of course, you have to grade all of that stuff in relation to the insurance. If you're not sure how much your case is worth, you can contact me, free consultation, absolutely anytime. DM us on any of our channels, call our firm. We have WhatsApp on the main line. Anything you need, we're here for you. I'm Brent Sibley. I'm the founding partner of the firm. I'm the owner. And when you hire us, you get to deal with me directly. Sibley Dolman. If you like this video, please like and subscribe to the channel. And I look forward to doing this again soon. Thank you very much. Have a great day.